there are 10 questions or 10 things that a good strategic plan will have you thinking about. So this is a summary of a bunch of stuff that comes from McKinsey and several other sources. I highly recommend McKinsey's article, Have You Tested Your Strategy Lately? But the first is, can I beat the market and how am I going to do that? And to do that, you want to look at who your competitors are, what are the potential substitutes for the products or services that you're selling, and who are the new entrants that are coming into the market. And you want to do that on a regular basis. Now, if any of you are familiar with Michael Porter, he wrote about this in several books back in the 80s primarily. And it's just, and I'm going to show you how to do it in a second, but thinking about these things keeps you sharp, and it means that nothing surprises you. Then leveraging the competitive advantages that you've already got. What is your positional moat? Your positional moat is, let's say that you are the dominant player in your particular niche with your particular product or service. If you are, then you have a positional moat in that, let's give you an example. Let's say that Netflix is a subscription service for videos streaming online now. They've got millions and millions and millions of subscribers. So when the providers of content come to them and say, hey, you're making way too much money renting our content, it makes them nervous, and they say, we need to produce our own content. But their own content is going to cost a whole lot of money to produce. But because they can amortize the cost of the content that they're producing over their established base of customers of millions and millions of people, and I think they just crossed 100 million recently subscribers, the per unit cost of that content, their first one I think was House of Cards, which was 100 million to produce. But that's nothing to them. That's $1 a subscriber. But if you only have 10,000 subscribers or 100,000 subscribers, you're in a bad position because that's going to be so expensive to you, it's going to be hard to do. So that's what we mean by a positional moat. You also can have privileged tradable assets. So if you have registerable, protectable intellectual property, which would be patents, trademarks, copyrights, that sort of thing, trade secrets, customer lists, those are privileged tradable assets that are a competitive advantage. And then, of course, your unique skills. And then look at your competitive segment granularity. This is with respect to your product category, your consumer segment, and your geo-territory. Most people break that down to 2 or 3 or maybe 10 things. But the data indicates that you should be thinking much more granularly than that. You should be thinking about 30 to 50 segments, sub-segments, and that will help you to really focus on the parts. It'll help you to see what's happening in each of those segments. Same thing with your geographic territory. There may be significant more demand in a particular area of town, and then that would be an area that you would want to. Then, are you trend informed? Are you looking at the consumer behavior patterns? Are you looking at trends with product lines? CBD products are huge right now, right? Cannabis-based products are huge. Blockchain products are huge. Crypto, I don't know if that's going to continue to be or not, but there are lots of things that are product lines that you should be thinking about. So we have a SaaS company in the real software as a service company in the real estate niche, and we saw that blockchain was going to make it easier to disintermediate real estate agents and banks from the real estate sales process. So we created a blockchain-based SaaS that allows real estate investors to purchase properties with no intermediaries. It does everything for them, and everything is secure, and it's distributed through blockchain, so it's super, super easy and secure. So that's a trend-informed thing, but it's sexy too because everybody's looking for that, right? And then resource allocation. Is your resource allocation in your company trend-informed? Are you thinking about, well, I'm going to have to I'm going to have to try to take advantage of this. I'm going to pivot more towards this because this is the thing that's going to be hot. Am I also looking at my P&L and shifting my resources financially to adjust and allow for what's happening with the trend? Does that make sense? Okay. Then proprietary insights. If you're not doing primary research, everybody has access to so much information now, so many reports, so much data that is the same. So if you are not reaching out, we have a thing I'll talk about in a little bit called the Fab 50, reaching out to say 50 of your top customers and getting primary research that you get, taking surveys and getting direct information from them so that you can have your own insights that are proprietary to you, you will put you so far ahead of your competition. And then tech. Do you need to develop your own tech? SaaS companies sell typically at multiples of revenue, not multiples of EBITDA. You have the ability to create a SaaS company, and I'll show you how Digital Marketer pivoted from a publishing company to a software company as we go along. And then how are you embracing uncertainty? What are the uncertainty variables for you? What do we not know that we need to know? And scenario analysis, running specific scenarios so that you can say, what happens if this? What happens if that? We call it sensitivity analysis. Typically, you're going to do that through some sort of Excel spreadsheet. And then balancing your commitment and flexibility. This is something that Munger and Buffett do an amazing job of, is that let's say you're unhappy with your house and you want more room. The decision to get a new house is an irreversible decision. The decision to build a room on or remodel your existing home is a reversible decision. It's a much lower level of commitment than destroying it to the ground and building something new, or selling it and move something else. So they're very careful at determining what are their committed positions versus the things that they are betting on that are going to work, and the things that they absolutely are going all the way to the wall with, and they say, we know this is going to work. This is a slam dunk. And then, are you aware of all of your biases? And so there are several biases that we fall victim to when we're trying to make decisions, particularly strategic decisions. Are you overly optimistic? Are you anchoring some decision to something that is not directly related to the thing you're trying to decide? Are you saying Apple's launching a new phone and therefore I'm anchoring this thing that I'm going to do with a new app to this phone, instead of saying, will this app work regardless of whether that thing is happening or not? Loss aversion. Are you too scared to take the move and pull the trigger? The confirmation bias. Are you allowing yourself to be swayed by the things that are supporting your decision without looking at the things that don't support your decision? Are you following the herd? Do you have champion bias because someone who is particularly influential in your life or your organization, are they advocating something, therefore without doing your own analysis, you just go with it? Survivorship bias. Are you just thinking that this is going to work because you've studied it and all that you've seen is the success stories, but you haven't seen all of the failure stories along the way? Right? If you were going to go into sports and the only things that you looked at were the people who are playing professional sports right now, you wouldn't observe all of the people who broke their legs and lost their ability to have that career or couldn't even qualify to start. You got to look at the failures in addition to the successes. The halo effect is some success that you've had in one particular area overshadowing other decisions, so that you're not making those decisions based on each individual thing. You're looking at, we had a great year, so we can do all of these things, but they still need to be looked at individually. And then do a pre-mortem analysis. So a pre-mortem analysis is that you are looking at the decision that you're about to make now as if it didn't work. So you do a post-mortem now before the decision fails, to see what would the consequences be if the decision failed. And then within your organization, do you have the influence or advocacy within your organization? Believe it or not, even in small teams, there's people that everybody look to, right? So you want to be sure that those people are bought in, and then that the whole team is bought in, and then that your culture is going to allow you to assimilate whatever thing that you've decided to do. And then, are these strategies actually actionable? So have you allocated the resources for them? Have you made the mental and cultural shifts that you need to make, and is the P&L budgeted for them?